So on the back of Hurricane Harvey, the Texas government realized that the state was extremely vulnerable to similar costly catastrophic events, and so decided to take a more proactive stance to understand and mitigate the impacts of future flood events. So they tasked the Texas Water Development Board to develop plans and work with the 15 regional flood planning groups to develop a much more local and detailed response to flooding, both now and in the future. So when they looked at the data that was available, they developed what they called a patchwork quilt of data, as you can see here. This shows all the different vintages, the different methodologies, and the different data that was available. But effectively, 60 counties across the state did not have any detailed flood maps. Some of them had paper maps from 20, 30 years ago, but they were effectively null and void because they were so old. So when they looked at developing data to cover the state, they equated this to a cost of developing the BLE maps for the state for approximately $45 million. And it would have taken sort of 4 or 5, maybe 6 years to develop those data sets for the whole state. So they didn't have time for that. So that's where we effectively stepped in and worked with local organizations to develop a customized statewide flood map. Next slide, please. Showing the developed to both for pluvial, fluvial, and coastal flooding for both the current and future flood states. We worked with the Texas state climatologists specifically to use regional data for the state and modeled that specifically for them. Now, that current view was based on the latest LiDAR data that was captured. We built into a seamless terrain data set for the whole state. We then used that to run that through our automated modeling framework to develop the 100 and 500 year perspective across the state, down at, in this case, it was down at a 3-meter resolution. For the future state, we not only developed the future perspective under a changing climatic conditions, but we also built in a number of other novel things. So we built into the future view the impact of subsidence or subsidence due to oil extraction around the Gulf. We also brought in population changes and urbanization projections from the state. So we were able to provide for 2040 a perspective of not only the changing in flood, but the changing in flood conditions due to climate and urbanization, which was really important to get those future views to build the business case for investment and mitigation of flooding at a very local level.